Now, in China, for example, you have the what's called the Chinese ruling party changing into families. Now you have the 8 immortals. That causes a new family rivaling the old ones.
Okay, the 8 immortals, is that a name of families, or are those literally individuals who think
they were the original individuals, the 8 ones who were the ruling in the Chinese ruling party. Now, for them, they were the front by the Illuminati in order to run the China side. In the 1950s, 60s, they were given. But then a lot of money came their way, and then they started having their relatives and everyone else, and then they started to become families. Right? Once they started having families, all the businesses came into their names, and then they decided that they want to run the show again, differently, compared to the old families that were behind them.
Okay, but you're saying the Illuminati was broken up, and you're talking about a third world war, which technically we're in the middle of, or something, because this, we don't have a beginning and an end for this third world war.
The Third World War was managed Third World War.
Right.
Every First World War and Second and Third were managed.
Sure.
This is not a managed war. All of them are not in agreement. So because of the delay, then you had each party giving out what they want at the end of the war to happen, the Third World War. You had the eastern part saying, we took control of all the lands and stuff. As long as we keep in control, we are okay. Because there are 3 parties to the Illuminati. It's a treaty. It is written by the... actually, there are 4, and the 4th one doesn't know what to do. It's done, some of it by those that came of the Jewish background. Then you have the black nobilities from Europe, which is the P2 Vatican now. And then you had the Asian families with all the gold that they had in support of their work. So they came in to do it. Meanwhile, you also had the third one, which is the Scottish Rites. And the Scottish Rites you can think of them as the magicians.
Sure.
The proper one.
Yeah, okay. But
Right.
What about the Bush Cabal?
The Bush Cabal are basically working for the all Jewish families.
Okay.
Then you had others who are working against them within America, and they used to be part of the Scottish Rites. So the fighting in between what you see in America has always been between the Jewish background with the Scottish Rite background. And the Jewish background, would say, is the Bowers, the Rothschilds, compared to the Scottish Rites.
Okay, but the Nazis also fit in here somewhere.
Yes, the Nazi is the Scottish Rite marrying into the Zionist national, the National Party with the Zionist. Mm-hmm. Apologies, not the Scottish. It was the P2, the Vaticans, through their Jesuits, taking control of Germany through the National Party, then joining with the Zionists, with the ZA, and then you've got ZI, you've got the Nazi. So they worked together. But then as they came up, because of the long time, 60, 70 years, they became yet another families or sect. If you give something long enough, it forms into its own being. So you have to do very quickly. So then the different families had different agendas.
Sure.
The the Vatican P2 families, which are basically the old European ones in what's called Italy and Venice and various other places, their purpose is humanity just becoming subservient, just worker class. The Jewish background, I don't like Jewish word Jewish. The Zionist background is actually your humanity is a problem. So we change in the humanity. So we change all the DNAs and make all these gadgets that they want to put on humans to change their DNA and change what their mandate is. Mm-hmm. Now the problem with that requires quite a lot of killing. The other side do not like the killings. They just want to say, we are under control. So the two agendas now did not fit. Mm-hmm. So when the two agendas do not fit, they start clashing.
Right.
When they start clashing, the Asians came back and said, you have been too long, we need to come back. And you tried, the 60s didn't work, the 80s didn't work, the 2000s didn't work. So they went into their controllers of the Zionists. They went into the Vatican, the P2 Lodge, the Jesuits. He said, you are not in control. Come back to the front and take control of the situation. So then you had the Black Pope coming, the Jesuits coming in the forefront to try to take control. Mm-hmm. So they came in control and they found that, okay, we need to take possession of the accounts that were stolen, of the funds that were stolen, of the businesses that were stolen. So they worked against the Zionists. But in order to do that, they had another party coming up, which is a new party, a new side, which are the Russians. Now, what's the problem with the Russians? You had the old, party. What's it called? Communist Party, mm-hmm. now becoming into new families. 70 years later. So now you have established new families running, a ruling family running Russia, saying we don't want to destroy Russia, because that's destroying our land. Mm-hmm. So the Jesuits and the East Asian families worked hand in hand with the Russians against the Zionists. So they had their shots. And as a joke, I normally say is the Asians and the Jesuits wanted to see if the Zionists could fly. So they threw them off the windows, and 40, 50 of them falling off the windows. See there that they can fly, but unfortunately for them, they hit the ground and killed them.
And are you referring to the bankers?
Yes.
Okay.
So what we have now is we have reached a point because of after 2012, and now we are coming. If you know my presentation in the past, I've spoken about Planeta X and all that stuff.
Right.
So everything now shutting down. So they have to go and now clean up. Who's going to dig down? Who's going to be cleaned out? So then the agenda of the Zionists that was declared in the Elders of Zion 1899 conference, which says how they were going to take control of things. There was part of the agenda there saying at that point when we want to take control, we must get rid of the Jesuits and the other parties. So now that has been activated.
Oh yes?
So now there is a clashing of, getting rid of the ruling families between each other. But to do that, they are shooting at each other's financial institutions.
Okay.
But to do that, they have to break the Illuminati agreement. Now, the Zionists have issued warnings stating the fact that don't go with the Russians, come back, stop fooling around, stop killing my people. And now they've issued a decree from Taylor Swift. She's being the spokesperson, and all her videos. I have given you a set of presentations with all her videos, and the last video detailed analysis, detailed information as to the warnings, actually the declarations of war between them and the other two, which is the P2 and the Asian families. In the declaration, it basically says that the Illuminati treaty is now broken. So on a technical level, there is no Illuminati as we speak since whenever the video came out, which was in April, May.
Yeah. Okay. So, but what you're saying is that the main branches of the Illuminati, and this is again rather broad, is the Zionists.
Yes.
And on one hand, and on the other hand, the Vatican.
Yes.
And P2.
Yes.
And the Russians and the Chinese.
The Russians were not part of the Illuminati.
They weren't?
No.
All right.
They're a new party.
Okay. Okay. But the Asian group and the Vatican were a group.
Yes.
They were sort of on one side, and the Zionists, which included the Bush cabal,
yes,
is on the other side.
Yes.
And now they are at war with each other. The treaty is broken.
Yes, the treaty is broken.
And the Taylor Swift video recently, Bad Blood, is very specific about the sort of mayhem that they are vowing to take place.
Yes, and in that, after they've declared that they have been grieved by the other side and they should not have gone with the Russians, and the fact that that they've sided with the Russians and they've stolen accounts and funds and all that stuff, and they are referring to BRICS, by the way. These are the accounts, basically the financial system.
Yes.
They stole the financial system, control of the financial system. After this, they said, now you've taken out our main guys in the financial system, we are now declaring bad blood, meaning we have now the rights to go after you and destroy you, as part of the traditions of Freemasonry. And that's why they put the two hands together like this with a sword, meaning this is Freemason judgment. In the videos it goes and talks about them hitting the Asians first, with the Asians fighting inside each other. Then the Asians finishing, the Asians then fight with whoever is on the Asian left, going and destroying the Russian part and taking both of them together.
So what you're saying is that there is going to be, or there already is.
We started.
Yes. And this started April, May, are you saying?
No, it started about a month ago. Now we have over 23 stock exchanges collapsing. So it's already collapsed.
Okay, on the Asian side?
Yes. For example, Kazakhstan a week and a half ago had 25% loss in one day. Okay, I'll go into the mechanics of how they are doing it.
Sure.
Why they are doing it.
Mm-hmm. And let me just have a caveat here, because it's not clear what Taylor herself will know about her actual video, right? She may see it as just an artistic, thing about love and whatever, when in reality it contains very special messages that were programmed in there by, in essence, the directors and producers who are under orders. Is that how you view it?
Yes, and if you look at how quickly they've produced the messages, one of them coming after the other, and you realize as a director, as a filmmaker, it takes several months to prepare these things. then you realize that it's actually all pre-prepared by them, and they're just taking from their drawers and pushing it as though they have just been grieved, as though they're just sending a message. It is just a show. They already had planned this 100 years ago, and they had preparations for it a few years ago in presenting this. They just now have the opportunity to do it.
Okay, and they use her because she is have signed a contract with blood. Is this what you're saying?
Everyone, it is normal.
In the music industry.
Everyone who deals. Okay, when you sign with these guys, your words have no meaning, and money or whatever has no meaning. You have to physically give something. So it always involves death and blood. Blood because that gives your DNA that allows you to be traced. And that is a form of your acceptance, your signature. And death is you committing a sin and tying that sin with them. So you are in the same quagmire. Mm-hmm. So if you smell bad because if they smell bad, you also smell bad. And that basically says that we are partners in crime. So that's why always there is a death involved and blood involved, always.
Okay, and do you know, just, I'm sure people might be interested, what death was involved with regard to Taylor Swift, or you don't know?
Even if I knew, I would not say it.
All right, fine. So at this point, now explain how they are doing this with the financial system.
So the BRICS have come up with something that is supporting it with their own gold support, back support currency, while the Americans were constantly being printing. The Americans were told stop printing, so they've stopped printing for whatever reasons. Cannot go into details. Now the Zionists come back and says, okay, guess what? You can see it in the videos. I'm explaining things that are available in videos, and not everything I'm saying is from the videos, but the videos is evidence that you can look at and says, oh yes, what Kameran is saying is supported by what the message is coming out. In the videos it talks about inner fighting, internal fighting. That is the one that's going to do the cause of the collapse on the other side. Mm-hmm. Now, in order to do the internal fighting, you need to plant your people in. Guess what they did since last century? The Zionists have infiltrated the P2 lodge, and they put into the banking side a lot of their people. So when the BRICS were set up, they migrated a lot of these people into the Chinese and the Russians, yes. And most of them are P2 lodge, who some of them are infiltrated.
Okay.
So they've infiltrated that part. Now, as well as the main people, the new guys who have come in, they've given them a lot of money, so they then became their financial advisor, their financial manager. And they duped them. So a lot of people who suddenly became billionaires are managed by the Zionist, who is managing them through the infiltrated P2 lodge. So that has taken place, and now they have people in those locations working, looking as though they are P2 lodge, but they are not. They are actually Zionists.
Okay.
With people in governments who are working for them. And why are the people in government working for that? Is because the people in government want to get rid of the old establishment control. And the Zionists tell them, you are now the new establishment, you take control of that. Oh, by the way, get rid of the Russians as well. Okay?